everyone, my name is Annie. I'm the author of Legends of the West, my graphic novel, and finally I am back with my third part of this video series, How I Make a Manga Page. And in this part, I'm going to show you how I use the scanner and how I work with Photoshop and Clip Studio to basically finish the page. And I'll do my little experiment with a real photograph and insert in the comic page and work a little bit to make it more like a comic, close as possible, like a comic style, like my comic style. Anyway, it came out pretty good. Obviously there's always something to improve, but I'm pretty satisfied with the result. And this video is a little long, so hold on, be patient. I try to explain the different process and maybe it can help you out how to create your comic book page and give you some ideas how to do it, especially for beginners. Anyway, stay with me. Don't forget to subscribe and like my page and check my comic book on one.comics.com. And I'll leave all the links below. And let's watch the video. Okay, so I have a MacBook, and if you have a MacBook like me, you go on System Preference, you choose Printer and Scanners, and you pick your scanner, you open the scanner, and there we go, the window pop-ups a window, and that's your scanner that start to warm up. I have a Epson Perfection V39. It's brand new. I just bought it and it works pretty fine, and it goes well with the MacBook Pro. Okay, so this is your window with all the features, and as you can see, you start to scan the image. Anytime that you scan anything, a document, an image, you want to put it upside down in your scanner. Okay, here there is a grid and it's an enclosing box, and you try to capture the whole image, the whole page. I prefer capture the whole page than just the image. It's a little difficult because you have to grab the little dot and drag it down, and it's very small, and it's sometimes it's kind of hard to grab everything. Anyway, so here there are all the features that you need. Those are the DPI, and when you scan an image, try to scan in a high resolution, like a 300 DPI at least. I usually do 600, but you can go 350, 400, not less than 300 DPI. I truly recommend that. And then here you choose what folder you want and the format. The format you choose TIFF. Don't do JPEG or PNG or any other format, just TIFF. And those other features, it doesn't really matter. And then you click scan, and it's a little slow. It takes a little bit, but in a few seconds you're gonna see the image pop up, and it goes. The picture, it goes on your desktop if you choose to put it on your desktop, or in any folder that you picked. It's a little slow, and it's a little noisy too, this particular scanner, but it works fine, and the image, the resolution is really good. I can't complain really. There you go. This is the image on my comic page. Okay, I guess in the little enclosure box, when I was trying to drag it down the enclosure box, I scan other parts of the page that which I don't need, and I'm gonna throw away. Just move to trash. It doesn't really, those are extra parts that got scanned accidentally, so I can throw away. But anyway, so this one I scanned a 350 dpi and it came out pretty good. Now I want to see if I scan a 600 dpi, what's the difference. So let me hear. Okay, I'm going to click overview again, and here the scanner warm up, and it's always a little slow. It should appear in few seconds. I think that the other one that I used to have was a little faster, the Canon Light 200, but it doesn't work anymore. One upgrade my computer with Mojave, the new version, it just stopped to work. Anyway, here is the enclosing box. This time I'm doing a better job, not really, to grab the page. Seriously, they're very small and it's hard. Okay, so let's click 600 dpi and let's click scan. There you go. Yeah, the other scanner was a little faster than this one, but unfortunately I even called Canon support and they say that they're not even making that model anymore, so I had to forget about it and just buy a new scanner. But for what I'm doing for this purpose, the Epson Perfection V39 is fine. I'm not want to spend $200-300 for a scanner. No. Okay, so here you can even name your file if you want, and there you go. So this is 600 dpi and this one is 300 dpi. There's not much difference, I think, because if you look really close the page, I think the lines are a little bit more crispier and this 600 dpi. So I'm gonna keep it the 600 dpi just because I'm used to. And here you can name your file, your page. I'm going to name as usually I do, page 101, 102, Legends of the West, so I know it's easier to find. And I keep it in the desktop for the moment, but I have a folder with all my comic book page. Okay, so that's basically, oh, you can choose black and white and text and color if you have a photographer. I choose color for my comic book. I don't know, I think it comes out a little better than just black and white, but that's on you for that. And I move to trash the things that I don't need anymore, and now I'm start to work with Photoshop. So as you can see, everybody knows as Adobe Creative Cloud, you have to pay your monthly fee, $9, $10 a month for Photoshop. It's kind of, I mean, it used to be so expensive, Photoshop, that it was very hard to afford for anyone unless you were a professional graphic designer. And I got lucky when I was in college because I had the student discount. But unfortunately, when I upgrade my computer, my older version of Photoshop, it didn't work anymore, so I had to give up and start to pay my monthly $10 for Photoshop. And I need it, I use it a lot, and it is what it is. But at least I have to say, I don't have to worry to upgrade it every time to buy a newer version, because Adobe, it does automatically, so at least that. And they give you a lot of brushes for free, uh, really a lot of brushes, and they're very useful. Anyway, you open your file, and that's my folder with the new chapter, but not right now, it's on my desktop. So click on my desktop folder. Here we go, my computer. It's so small in RAM and hard drive that every time I try to record a video, it's open Photoshop. It's a mess. I wish to have more gigabytes, really. Anyway, alright, so first things I do is crop the image, because I want to make sure that when you scan your illustration, your picture is not completely straight, it's always moving a little bit. So you want to crop your image just a little bit to make sure that it's completely straight, there's not any ugly surprise later. So you crop your image so you're sure 100% that is straight. So this one is a, even if I draw the panels, I'm going to keep the whole image all over the page. And here I adjust the width and the height, and I use centimeters, uh, just to keep uh, like a comic page size. Um, and what usually I do is I just adjust the height and a little bit the width, because this is a all over page. And then with the bucket, I fill in the empty spot in white or black. I usually use black if it's a scene that happened at nighttime. In the end, what you do is go in adjustment, and you choose exposure, and voila, your image becomes bright white, and the darker part become darker. The ink becomes really black, and so you adjust it a little bit according to how do you want it. And I really like bright white and really dark black. So there you go. So you click OK, and you're ready to edit, basically going on. But this is a very useful trick, because when you scan your illustration, it's never really black. The ink is never gonna be super black, and the white is never gonna be always super white. So you want to adjust it for your website or for any app that you like, Webtoon, if you upload it on your app, Webtoon, or any other site. You have to kind of make it crispier and bright and nice looking for the internet. Okay, so you create basically a layer, and you start to work on the new layer. I don't suggest to work on the original layer, because if you make a mistake, then it's a mess to cancel or erase your mistake. So just start on a new layer, and in case something goes wrong, you can trash it out and your original is not touched. So okay, so you choose the brushes that you wanna use. Like I said, Photoshop it really give you so many brushes for free, and a place that I go to get brushes for free is what's it called? It's not Pixabay, Brush Easy. Brush Easy, you can get so many brushes for Photoshop for free, and it's awesome. And I got some very cool brushes with really cool effect that I use it all the time, especially the cloud brushes and other nice effect. Okay, so basically here I'm doing a little bit the sky and with a nice soft brush, and you start basically start to edit, finish up basically the illustration. That's what I do. I ink by hand, I sketch by hand the comic page, then I draw it nice on the nice paper with the lighting box, then I ink it by hand, and then I finish up with Photoshop and Clip Studio. Uh, this chapter is kind of the first time that I'm doing this, because from chapter 1 to chapter 3 of Legends of the West, because I drew it many years ago, several years ago, I started to do everything by hand. So I was completely inking everything and by hand, and insert even the screen tones by hand. But like I said, when you scan the image, it's never really gets super nice looking for the internet. I mean, you can see every single error or imperfection, and it literally drove me crazy. So I start to fix everything in the pages, and it really took me a long time. But on this way that I'm doing now, just inking, just do basic lines, and obviously start with the landscaping, but don't go too much in the details. It really saved me a lot of time, and it's good in this way because working in another job, and having a family, time is precious. So if you can save so much time, some time in doing this is great. Okay, so here is the clouds brushes that I got from brusheasy.com, and I love them. And I used to have some screen tones with brush effect, with clouds effect like that, but like I said, uh, it saves you so much time on doing with these Photoshop brushes. Some people will wonder, oh, why don't you ink in everything on the computer? I'm not ready yet to do that, and like I said in my previous videos, I enjoy drawing by hand and inking by hand. Um, I really love to do that, and I'm not ready to completely switch, do it completely digital. Um, like that, you save some time anyway. I don't know if I can really draw everything on the computer. I don't know. I tried. I did some stuff, but the old comic book, I don't know. I enjoy do it by hand. And like I said, I'm saving time anyway, so it's way faster doing like that for me. For me personally, uh, and I can tell that my drawing style, the characters, they change a little bit. As I change a little bit the style, try to make it more modern manga. But I don't. If you watch some of my previous videos, you know that my opinion about modern manga. But I have to adapt. And like I said, the previous chapter I drew it many years ago, so they're kind of old uh, drawings. And obviously, when you're an artist, you notice that every year that you draw, you improve. Every year, you make some improvement and you change your art style a little bit, and your drawing, your hand gets better and better and better. So let's say that aging for an artist is good. So you might get some wrinkle on your face, but you get a really good artist. So let's say like that. There is some consolation. But yes, so you choose your different brushes and you keeping going on. And like I said, for me, it's very important. Uh, Draw a really nice landscape. Um, Give a natural, like a perspective of the wild nature of that time in the United States. Um, and right now she has a, it's like this one, it's this scene is part of the past. The Sally is remembering this part of her life. It was a year before she met Tom and Hawk, a year before, and she's in California, her native land. And so it's kind of like, I don't want to say a deja vu. Nah, deja vu is different. But it's like remembering a scene of her past. And this scene is very important because every time Sally, she's gonna have some time that she's gonna go back her remembering her past, uh, to make sure to understand what happened to her. Okay. Okay, there are different type of cloud brushes here. There are so many, and it gives you a really nice effect. And I have, like I said, different brushes. They come a lot of them for free, like the Rani Inkers, this crosshatch. They came for free with Photoshop, and there are plenty. I mean, there is these manga brushes, the rakes, um, and they are very nice brushes. You can really do a lot of things, a lot of effects. This one, for example, it's a manga brush. It's kind of resemble a Japanese pen nib, and as you can see, I can draw very thin lines and kind of make it similar to my a grass that I ink by hand. So I'm just doing a little bit to fill up the empty spot, because I didn't know if I want to use some special effect to separate the two panels, like maybe some rakes or cross hatch, but I decided just to draw some these regular lines to separate the panels, and I'm just filling up. But those brushes are very neat. Like I said, Clip Studio and Photoshop, they're very useful. You don't have to have both software, uh, but uh, I mean, if you have Photoshop, you can really do so many things with Photoshop, especially if you're a pro with Photoshop. I mean, you don't have any problem. And Clip Studio, even if you just use Clip Studio for your comic book, that's nice too. That's plenty. Um, I really love the fact that Clip Studio it's mainly created for comic books, so it's very easy to do certain things with Clip Studio. While maybe from with Photoshop, you have to kind of do it from scratch. Like for example, um, if you want to create a balloon, text balloon, you have to kind of do it from scratch. It's not that hard. Do it with Photoshop, but with Clip Studio, they already have these pre-made balloons, and they're very nice. They have a different shape. You can even modify very easy and quick. So there are some good things and bad things for both softwares. I had the chance to have both. I got Clip Studio just because I bought the Wacom Intuos Pen tablet, and it came with Clip Studio, the software, for free. It was included with in the price, so why not use it? And I really enjoy it. It's a really good software, and if you want to buy it, I think it's less than $50, so it's way more it's affordable, more affordable than Photoshop. Okay, so here I'm drawing a straight line to separate the two panels. To drawing a straight line like this, the only things you have to do and choose the brush that you want, usually the one that I choose, and you point, you click on your start point, and then you click on your keyboard shift, and you keep it pressed shift all the way, and here you go, you have a perfect straight line. So it's very easy. No, uh, no problems. I mean, you start and you keep pressing shift on your keyboard, and you're done. Very easy. It's a little different Clip Studio. For this part, Photoshop is better to me than Clip Studio, drawing straight line. But keep in mind, I'm not a super expert in Clip Studio yet, because I have only for, let's see, well, I got my pen tablet back in December 2017, and I really started to use Clip Studio after a few months, and I didn't really have a chance to uh, go deeper and watch videos, tutorials, how to use it, everything, every feature that I have, because I try to get done these pages as fast as I can, because I'm doing so many things, writing a blog and making YouTube videos and try to build an online shop, plus work on my regular job and take care of my dogs, take care of my husband. Which is another full-time job basically. Yeah, I'm pretty busy. So I'm not super familiar with Clip Studio, but um, I love both software. So anyway, so here I tried to figure out which layer is the one that draw the extra grass, and I need to erase the stuff that coming out, and I can't find the layers. That's because I have the bad habit never name my layers, which is the things I suggest for anyone. When name each layer, because you know which one it is, and you don't spend 3 hours figure out which one which one you need to adjust or fix or working on, like I'm doing right now. It literally drove me crazy. I used to uh, name the layers, but then I got lazy. I say, oh well. Well, anyway, so I'm trying to figure out what where is this grass and what layer. So I just decide just go over like that. And obviously erase a little bit of the line that I just draw, but it's okay, it's not too bad. Now I'm going in the one I'm trying to fix a little bit better. See, for these kind of errors you waste a little time, but hey, there you go. I'll go over. Nah, made a mistake. And here's the part that I should to edit on my video. Uh, just erase and make sure that I'm so perfect. I do everything right, but I don't care. Everybody makes mistakes, and it's good to see the mistakes so you learn and you're not gonna do the same my mistakes. And I learn too from my errors. So maybe next time I can start to name my layers and avoid this. But see, I just went over a little bit with the white and make it even. So now I'm doing the same things with this one. So all the lines, they're gonna be the same size. They're not gonna be one thicker, one smaller or thinner, which is a little hard because you have to really do it right. Which is, once you find the pixel size on the brush, you should just memorize, and when you do the lines you just put the same pixels number, so it's even and you save time. Okay, so here's done, and this, and I'm going to add now some other effects, because basically the sky is done. For this part is done basically. Now probably I'm going to use some brushes for the background, heels, and add some screen tones on Sally nightgown, and I'm going to do this one's gonna be time lapses because I'm just using brushes really quick. So let me go a little with the time lapses here. guitar. I got this soundtrack from YouTube. They give you for free music for the background for the video, so you don't have any copyright issues. So it's pretty neat. Okay, so basically I'm done here with the brushes, and now what I'm going to do is work on the photograph that for the last panel for this page. And I got a quick image from I think I got it on Brush Easy. I was looking for a Louisiana creeks on Google Image, but I really didn't find any good picture that really fit the page. So I find this one, and it's pretty nice. So what I'm doing from colors, get a black ground, black and white, and then I go to exposure and work with the offset, the gamma correction, and the exposure to make it more like uh, ink, inking ink illustration, like the comic book. And I saw, as I mentioned before in some of my videos, I got inspiration by Inyo Asano, which is a Japanese mangaka, and I watched a YouTube video, and I really like his art style, and he really goes around Tokyo, take pictures of the city, some scenery, and then works with Photoshop, and basically he adjusts the photographs that he takes from around the city, and obviously does a better job than me because he's a professional for he I guess it's many years that he works in the manga industry, but he works with Photoshop and Clip Studio Paint as well, like I do. But so I saw his artwork and how he was building his pages, and I really loved it. I said, oh gosh, maybe I can do something like that for some landscape. And it saves you some time because obviously for drawing something like that, like this creek, it takes a long time. But also can give you some real cool effects, like I mentioned, I want to maintain a very natural, realistic landscaping of the Wild West, and this one can do really give me that effect that I want, the results that I want. So here I'm trying to figure out what I can do with some filter, if there is something that I like it. But so far I didn't really see anything that I would like. I like it. So there are some different type of filters that you can use with Photoshop. It depends what kind of effect, what kind of style do you want. This is not too bad, but as the it depends really. This is way too like Illustrator effect. It gets too much. I don't like it. So, but just to give me an idea, I already did a couple pages. The first page with the introduction on the chapter, it was that cliff. I use a photograph and then fix it with Photoshop, And then in the second page of the chapter, I introduced the ocean. I got a piece of the part, a photograph, and a cropped and the ocean, and work with Photoshop, and it came out pretty good. You can't really tell the difference so much. But anyway, so here you copy your photos and you transfer on your other page, and the new Photoshop, the new version of Photoshop, it kind of, when you do free transform, before it was more, uh, you could work a little bit the size that you want. Now it does scales, so no matter what you do, it always scale, and scale it right. Obviously, that's the right side. But if you wanna make it a little longer, like a rectangular, like in the on this way, it is getting hard. You can't do anymore unless it is some trick that I didn't figure out yet. But the older version, I was able to scale it. I was free to scale as much as I want, free transform, and now it just scale it, and you can't do the size that you want. I mean, with free transform. So probably I should do, um, if I knew the exact size, the exact measurement for this panel, probably I would do that. But see, so here I'm working on a little bit and figure out what to do and adjust the picture into the panel. So that's probably is the hardest part. But yeah, this mangaka was great. I mean, what he did, some of the drawings, they were awesome. I would suggest to take a look. If you ever have a chance to, if you have time, watch some of these videos that are available on YouTube. I saw even another Japanese artist. It was the author of Death Note, and he was coloring by hand, um, uh, the main character of Death Note with Copic markers. It was great, and uh, I saw several interviews of other mangakas, and they can give you really some inspiration, some ideas. Like Inyozano gave me the idea to um, introduce real photographs for landscapes in my comic book, and I like the idea. Um, he was saying in the interview that maybe some people say, "Oh, that's kind of cheating because you should draw everything," but I don't think it's cheating. It's just uh, introduce a new ways to do your comic book, um, and see, experiment. Like I said, I like experiment to see what it works best. And if you are an artist, you need to be open mind to everything, and adapt to the time and see what works best for you and for your comic book, for your story. So, um, work with everything and see what works best for you. Maybe doing this with the photographs for your particular story is not gonna work right, but for other maybe does. So just keep your mind open and always check other artists how they do it. There is always something to learn and a lot to gain, and new tips and inspiration. Even if you know what you're doing, you're a professional. look other professional is always good. Okay, so uh what I'm doing here basically is I finish with the illustration. I mean, with the photos, I fix it like that, kind of crop it and everything else, and I crop it and I adjust it for the panel, and I save the page and I open Clip Studio Paint. And basically I'm finished the page with Clip Studio Paint, so I start to go in the do details for the wolf, and uh, colors basically is fur, and I use mostly what I use is the ink brushes and the manga brushes and some watercolor brushes, and I really like use those brushes. And obviously I'm doing time lapse because it takes a while and I don't want to make a video that's 4 hours long. I just noticed that uh, when I paint the heels in Photoshop, somehow they didn't get saved. So now I'm trying to figure out what happened, but I guess in the process, I must have changed something and weird. It didn't save my heels, so I'm gonna redo it here in Clip Studio Paint. Things like that happen. So one thing I suggest, every time you do something that on your illustration on your page that you want to keep it, save it, because it happened a few times. This was with the older version of Photoshop, that it was just freezing or suddenly shut down, and all my work was lost. And it happened a few times, so I start to just save every single time. So sometimes happen uh, incident like that. So you take my suggestion, try to save every so often your work, because you get really pissed if you're almost done with the page and something happened, your computer crashed or something, and your work of hours get lost and you have to redo it everything again. So um here just the heels, I don't care that much. I didn't even like the how they came out, so probably I will have it redone anyway. So but yeah, take my advice. But yes, basically here I'm doing the base for the fur with the darker gray, and then I'm going to use some shadows and watercolors to make a more 2D effect, more, give it some depth and some volumes, you don't want to just make it flat. uh, I saw some comic books, modern comic books are very flat colors with no shadow or anything. I think it's better give it some kind of effect to just give it some more realistic, not really realistic, but give it some volume, some kind of perspective, on illustration. And another thing I want to add is don't overuse screen tones. Screen tones are nice, they're beautiful to use, they give you really nice effect. There's something to break, they're just black and white um, ink, but it's tricky. If you use too many screen tones, your illustration, your page is gonna become confusing and it's gonna be hard to read and understand for the reader. And is your drawing, your page is just plain flat. Uh, and it doesn't have a nice look. Too many screen tones can really ruin your page. So I saw, especially in the beginners, people that are just starting, they just go crazy with the screen tones because screen tones are nice to use. Uh, there are so many shades, so many different types, especially if you download it online. You have thousand and thousand of choices, but it can, they're good if they're used in moderation, with moderation. Don't overuse screen tones because they really leave your page just plain flat and confusing. And the reader, you have to always think about the reader, not just yourself. You know what you're doing, you know your story, you know what your panel means, but not everybody can read your mind. Oh, basically, nobody can read your mind. So you have to make sure that your drawing, your panel, in your panel, your scene, people understand what's going on. So if there is too much things going on, the reader is not gonna understand, and you're gonna lose some people, some audience. And so simple, clear, and watch the movies. Watch a lot of movies, which is a good thing, but watch good movies. And because basically drawing a comic book is very similar how you write a movie. If you think when there is a script ready for a movie, most of the times the movie gets sketched first, and these in storyboards. They create the storyboards to pictures basically the scenes. So then the actors they learn their role, and the director has a better uh, understanding how the scene is going to appear and look like. So there's not much different really for comic book artist. You basically, you're doing everything. You are the photographer, you are the director, you are the actors, you are the writers, you are the the director of pictures that they were, and you had to learn some different shots, different pose, and drawing your characters with expression in their face, because obviously nobody can hear their voice. It's not an anime, it's not a cartoon. So you have to make sure when you're drawing your characters to give it the expression, the right expression in the face, so the reader understand what's going on. In this page, in these first pages of these chapters, there's not that dialogue. Sally is not saying anything. It's not because this is just a flashback of her past, and she's remembering. But but I choose to put any words because later on in the story, more things are gonna get revealed about her past and her scene, and there's gonna be a point where she's gonna you're gonna read, not hear, read what she's saying in this. And Sally has different flashbacks, like I said before, during the story, and at the end, the dialogue is gonna appear in the pages. So I'm gonna reuse this page later on and add the text balloons. And I get inspiration by one of my favorite director, Sergio Leone, which was Italian director of spaghetti western, and he made one of the best movies uh, in the history of the cinema. And I like western movies, but he did the best ones, like the good, the bad, and the ugly. Once upon a time in America, once upon a time in the West, and it, he was just great. And I really take inspiration from him and ideas. And most of the time in his movies, there's not much talking. Um, Clint Eastwood was one of the main actors for almost all his movies, or even Charles Bronson in Once Upon a Time in the West, and he wasn't talking that much, but just his expression, his face was telling everything, and the music, obviously. Unfortunately, I can't use music in my comic book, but he really inspired me. And sometimes not much talking, not much dialogue, if I say it right. Uh, it's good. Just the expression, how the face of the characters can tell everything. Uh, so, like I said, keeping consider to watch good movies, and don't just watch the movie, but watch the scene, the scenery, the background, the photos, the pictures. When they get Oscars, when there are the Oscars, they don't just awards the actors, but they awards even the director of photographs, I mean the writers. And now I'm not an expert in Oscars, but I mean there is a lot going on in a movie, and the same for a comic book. There is a lot going on, and like I said, the artist, unless you work with a team, but if you're by yourself, you are everything. So um, take inspiration from the best, from the masters, and improve yourself and see, like I said, see what it works for you, for your story. But movies, nowadays movies, a lot of Hollywood movies, they're inspired by comic books. The Marvels, probably they are making way more money making movies than create comic books now. But they got inspired from the comic books. So, and read the classic novels. They can really help with a lot of inspiration, a lot, and they give you imagination, because when you read that book, you don't see the illustration, you don't see the pictures, but you created the pictures in your mind, in your head. You imagine how the characters look according from the description of the novel, and you imagine everything, and that can really help to get inspired for your comic book story, for drawing. You start to pictures on your mind how a scene and how characters look and what they do, what kind of expression they have, the gesture, so the scenery. So it can really helps a lot. So drawing a comic book is not just drawing cute girls or cute guys with cute faces. It's way more than that. There is a lot of work, um, and anyone that says the opposite, that comic books are just stuff for children, for kids, and are just drawings and there's not much into. Sometimes some people think there are stupid things. They don't know what they're talking about. I mean, I don't say that every single comic book, manga, graphic novel out there is good work. A web comic is a piece of art, a masterpiece, or great work. There is a lot of crap, but for professional that they're doing it for a long time and they really did great stories, great, they publish great comics. Uh, there is a lot of work they put into, and that's for everything. I mean, there are so many novels out there, and many books out there. Now, all of them that are great. Some that are a piece of crap. A lot of people are painters. Some people that are very talented, but a lot of them they're just piece of crap. So it's everything. It's not just comic book. Music is the same. So, but like I said, if you want to do seriously and get somewhere one day, you have to put a lot of work. And but it's a passion, and if you like it, you enjoy it. Sometimes you get frustrated, and that's for everything, but can be very aware that not just I'm talking about making money, because with comic books, unless you can make some money, but I don't think you really become rich unless uh someone is interested to make a movie or TV series, like happened for Walking Dead or for um, other comic books, Marvel comics, but it's kind of rare. Um, but you have to do it because you're passionate about it, not thinking how much money I'm gonna make. Because if you do it just for that, I don't know. I don't think it is really a place where you become rich. Maybe you can make a living for sure, but uh, nothing close to being rich. But anyway, I'm finished up here. This is basically what I'm doing with Clip Studio Paint. It just finish up the page, complete all the panels, coloring, coloring with gray tones, obviously, and I give you some effect for the landscape and the characters and everything that it's included in the panels. See, I redid the heels. They look much better now. I didn't like how they looked before. And now here I'm doing some grass and giving some like flowers effect, like wild grass. I saw some pictures from of California uh, nature around the cliffs, so the type of grass and the type of flowers that there is there. So I try to imitate it to put it on my uh, illustration, the heels, and you keep doing it. Basically, you complete the I complete uh, the drawing. So the brushes that Clip Studio Paint has, they're very nice. You can find it. You can find on Clip Studio. You can this is Clip Studio Paint, but then you click on the symbol of Clip Studio, and basically it's kind of go on their website. There is a lot of information, a lot of news. Sometimes they have kind of like a drawing contest that you can participate, and you can even get download new brushes and new 3D drawings. You can add some three, three 3D drawings on your comic, and they have already pre-made environment, like mostly high school classrooms or buildings. Mostly are Japanese. So if you're doing comic book that is set placed in United States or in Europe, I want to suggest to use this kind of environment because those are typical from Japan. And but yes, you can download many brushes that are from Japanese artists and they're for free. And I download a few, some extra, and they're very nice. Photoshop and Clip Studio Paint are very good software that I use mostly for different things. But Photoshop, it was created for graphic designer, photographers, and Clip Studios create mostly for comic book artists, but they work very well together. Now, if you want to transfer your Photoshop brushes on Clip Studio Paint, you cannot do it. And I tried and I was very disappointed because I found out that Photoshop brushes are on ABR type of file and format. It's ABR format, and as far as I understood, it's made only for Adobe. So you can't transfer these formats in any other uh, software, only for Adobe. So you can't use the same brushes you have in Photoshop. You can't download it in Clip Studio Paint. But like I said, you can get so many brushes on Clip Studio. They're available for free. And I know that some artists, like in DeviantArt, they sell mostly brushes made for Clip Studio Paint. I don't know how much they are. I never go in DeviantArt. I never really got into that. Um, but I read online that some artists they make their own brush, and I think you create your own brushes. I know how to make it in Photoshop, and I'm thinking actually to create a set and sell it on my website for a reasonable price. I gotta get into that. When I have some time, I'll probably try to do something like that. But yeah, and another thing is that Clip Studio Paint open PSP files, which are the Photoshop PSP or PS Photoshop files, PSP, whatever, Photoshop files, but Photoshop doesn't open Clip Studio Paint files because on Clip Studio you can save on Photoshop files, you can save in TIFF, JPEG, PNG, and Clip Studio Paint files, and I think maybe some other files, but those are the main ones. So what I do usually for myself is, because my computer doesn't have many gigabytes and Photoshop files are very big and it take a lot of space, especially when you have a comic book that you have all these pages. The things that you want to do is save your page, at least one copy, with Photoshop files or Clip Studio Paint file, because with all your layers, don't merge all your layers. Keep a copy with all your layers separate, because you never know what's gonna happen in the future that you might need to edit or fix or change some stuff on your page. Maybe you want to do an ebook one day and you need to make some changes, and maybe you find out that happened to me very often. I made a grammar error because I don't have an editor yet. So you, even if you read it many times, there's always something that you miss, and maybe you have to go back and fix it. And so you want to save a copy or your page with Clip Studio Paint or Photoshop file. So I usually save Clip Studio Paint file, my page, and then I save it on Photoshop file. I open on Photoshop and I resize my page. I merge all the layers, flatten the image, and save it as a JPEG, and then I post it on my website or in Webtoons. So then, because I saved previously with Clip Studio Paint file, I'm gonna trash the Photoshop file because I don't need it anymore. Because even if I have to modify it, make some changes, I just open Clip Studio Paint and fix it whatever I can do. And if I have to do something in Photoshop, Clip Studio allow me to save the page again in Photoshop file. So that's not really a problem, and usually Clip Studio Paint files are smaller than Photoshop, which is save a little bit. I still have a lot of problems with my computer, but space, but eventually I'm gonna invest on a bigger hard drive, maybe get an external hard drive and work with that. But that's what I suggest. If you have both software, yeah, Photoshop, Adobe, hey, they're making it hard. They don't they don't accept anything but Adobe. While Clip Studio, I'm glad that Clip Studio allowed to open Photoshop file, because you can really do so many things. Even not related to comic books. Maybe you want to do some t-shirt design, and now they're very popular. I'm getting into that too, so you can do some stuff. I did some Christmas t-shirt for Manga, but I didn't sell any. Not because they were ugly, but because I put it on Amazon, Merch by Amazon, and on my shop, online shop. And my online shop is so new. I really didn't even put too much work. I just put several t-shirts, several items, but nothing major. And I really have to put more time on that, but I need money to buy advertising for Facebook or even Instagram, because when you have a business, especially an online business, you want to advertise it. Nobody is gonna know that you have an online shop, and you, if you decide to do something like that, you really had to put a lot of design, because it looks like it, like right now, if you go to check my online shop, it looks like that it's empty. I mean, there's not much, just few things. So if you go online, you see something that is almost empty, you say, I don't know, maybe it's a scam, or it doesn't look serious. So it's a things. I mean, it's worth it to me, because I used to sell some t-shirt. I even did on Etsy, but then I just stopped, because it takes time for everything. And when you're drawing a comic books, if you want to keep posting page every week, it's a lot of work, like I said before, and it really takes away a lot of time of your day. And but yeah, those are my suggestions for Clip Studio and uh, Photoshop. If you ask me which one you prefer, I like both for different reasons. Um, I mean, the brushes that I use, I like both for both software, because they are different from each other, and I can really do. Maybe I prefer the Manga brushes. I prefer the one in Clip Studio Paint that than Photoshop. Um, uh, usually the T-pen brush that I use, it's very neat here in Clip Studio. It's very clean and smooth. I like the texture. And some are even the spray brushes. As you can see right now, um, I'm fixing that photograph and make it more comic, comic-ish, manga-ish. And I mean, like it's hard to say, oh, Clip Studio better than Photoshop, or vice versa, because like I said, there are two different software built for different reason and different customer clients, and they are both useful. Like I said before, for drawing straight line, I prefer Photoshop. For cropping any image, I prefer Photoshop. It's way easier. But Clip Studio Paint, I'm not really an expert. Okay, now I switch again on Photoshop, as you can see. And I basically use the text here, the special sound effect that there are in every manga and every comic book and web comic. Um, I prefer Photoshop for doing this part, um, special effect test. That's because I'm more familiar with Photoshop in doing this, since I'm a graphic designer. I build logos I did some business cards and other graphic design stuff, t-shirts, uh, and I am very familiar on doing on using the text. And then you can play around a lot with the text in Photoshop and in Clip Studio Paint. I didn't figure out yet how to do it. I even checked some tutorials, but I couldn't really find much. And if any of you knows how to do it, or they know any tutorial, please leave a comment, leave a link in the comment. I can take a look, because I try, but like I said, I don't have too much time to put in and try to learn every single feature. So I just go ahead and do it in Photoshop because I already know how to do it, and that saved me time. But I'm getting close to the end. Almost done here. But remember, your best friends, and I'm gonna put all the links below, are brusheasy.com, pixabay.com, and dafont.com. That's where you can find all the fonts, free fonts. So it's done. So now I'll flatten the image. Actually, what I'm doing is convert object, the text, convert an object and save, because if I put a stroke around the text, Clip Studio doesn't read the stroke. But if you you convert the text in an object, then you read it. It show up with the stroke. So like I said, I saved. I open in Clip Studio Paint, and I save as a Clip Studio Paint file with all my layers. Then I reopen it in Photoshop. I merge, I flatten all the image, and then I adjust the size for my website, and I save, and I change it in JPEG file format. And then I resize it for Clip Studio, not Clip Studio, Webtoon. Webtoon a specific dimension for your file, so you don't want to go over. And I save it for Webtoons file. And then I create the thumbnail for Webtoon. Never really remember the right size, but and that's the thumbnail on the Webtoon folder, and I'm done. That's it. That's my process. Okay, that's it for this video series, how I make a manga page. And I hope that my video can help you out a little bit how to create your comic book and give you some ideas. Anyway, I'm going to make more videos about how to create a comic book, and I'm going to go deeper, like how to write a story, develop the characters, how to make a website for your comic book, and obviously more drawing videos. And I really hope that my channel can help any of you to create your story, your comic book, your manga. So I think it's very good that other artists show how the way they do it. is always useful. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was kind of long. And thanks for stay till the end, hopefully, and leave a like, subscribe, and please check my website, one.comics.com. You can read my blog and read my comic book Legends of the West. I post one page every Thursday, and I even post it on Webtoons every Thursday. So if you're on Webtoon, if you have the app, you're welcome to check it out. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.